Okay, we're live.
Okay. So I will start presenting in a minute then. So
Okay, okay. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to day 5 of the Udara Lounge event. We're really happy to have you here.
Something happened to her network? I, I think so. Jesse, can you hear me?
yes, hi.
Okay, I'm guessing her network went off for a bit. No biggie. Let's just continue. So I'm guessing, yeah. So welcome everyone to day 5 of the Udara project. Today we have our speaker here, Jesse, who's going to be taking us through an in-depth demo session where we're going to really ask questions on, vibe coding. Vibe coding is the thing now. So we're going to have a live demo session where he's going to try and answer these questions on when to vibe code and when not to, and we're going to do an actual demo. Once again, Jesse spoke at the bootcamp that we had last year. So again, thank you, Jesse, for coming once again. The community was super excited when we informed them that you're going to be speaking because we loved your talk last time. And the topic you're addressing, it is such a controversial topic. In people at entry level are they're like, do I need to learn programming? Do I need to learn how to vibe code? And then senior software engineers are constantly telling you don't vibe code. So like there's this in between. So yes, I'm really excited for your session. So Jesse, thank you, and I guess the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed my last time here, so I'm very glad to have the opportunity to join you again. Yes, I will share my screen. And there we go. All right, and then let's see. Cool. I only have a few slides. They're going to be very simple. I want this session to be more of an interactive session. And we're going to be handling vibe coding today. Before I start, my personal relationship with this is actually when I was asked to talk about this topic, it was a bit challenging because I don't have clear in my mind what my feelings are about this topic. So it actually is quite interesting to figure out what I wanted to say about it. So who am I? I'm Jesse. I'm a software engineer. I currently work with Sai and Vitali. We're building a distributed clinical reasoning system. And I wrote my first line of code a long time ago, 25 years ago, in school. And ever since I wrote that first line, I never stopped writing code because for me personally, it's something that I really enjoy. And I'm a son to two artists, a painter and a musician. And they gave me, in my upbringing, a sense of trusting my own ideas and my own creativity and to embrace it. So maybe in the past I did tried to do some visual art and tried some music as well, but it was writing code that really stuck with me. And in that sense, for me, writing code is like an art form itself. And I find that it is a way to express concepts and ideas. You can give them the same qualities as you could give to an art piece. So part of the invitation for this talk was also to talk about vibe coding in the context of art and music and storytelling. So yeah, vibe coding itself, even if not directly related to art, music, and storytelling, for me already means the same. It's already always in the context of art. So what is vibe coding? Let's start with that. I don't think there's a hard definition. I think it was Karpathy, one of the founding AI researchers at OpenAI, that coined the term. And I think for me, when I think of vibe coding, it's about using AI to write code that you don't understand or that you don't care to understand. You don't only care about whether it works, and you let AI figure out the details. And I think that is probably the type of definition that brings along a lot of the controversy in whether it's something that we should be using or that anyone should be using. But I think it's just one way of using AI to write code. Another way would be AI-assisted coding, where you use AI to write code, but maybe in this case, you do care to understand what it's writing, and you do verify that it is correct and that it's secure and whatnot. And of course, you have agentic coding and all kinds of flavors. And some of this, there is AI in my personal workflow, writing code professionally and personally, and then it takes different shapes in both of those places. And I'll use AI a lot to research, or I'll use AI as a mirror for my thoughts. It's a good way to get my thoughts out on paper and reflect them back to myself to understand them more. And I would use AI as I am writing code to help me write what I already know that I want. So if I have a completion that shows up that finishes the sentence that I started writing, I'll hit tab if it matches what I wanted. And then to me, AI is less about taking the wheel, but it's more about, like, I don't know what you call that. In Dutch, it's called stuurbekrachtiging. When you have on the steering wheel in your car, it makes it easier to turn, so you don't have to apply all the force. That I'll use it like that. So vibe coding in art, to talk about that, there's this tweet or X post or whatever you call that these days. And you can see it's from March 2024. So this is an old tweet already, early days in AI. And when I saw that, and 3.3 million others saw that with me, I guess, for me, that it struck a nerve where it captured a big part of what I think of using vibe coding and generative AI in general in art. So generating images, generating music, generating stories. And this tweet is about, it tells you that we are starting to use AI to replace parts of our workflows, but it's specifically the parts that bring us joy or that embody our passion or that embody our humanity, rather than the boring or the menial work that we'd rather not do. So I think it's very important, if you talk about vibe coding in art, that you are not using vibe coding or generative AI in general to outsource your creativity, your own ideas, or your expression, the way that you see the world or the way that you want to convey your vision. And that doesn't mean you cannot use vibe coding in a way that enhances it. That is where I would see, if you find a way to let vibe coding do something that you couldn't otherwise do, and if that is not itself the message that you want to send, if it's helping you bring the message that you want to bring, then I can see the value. But if you are using vibe coding or generative AI to think for you, or to be creative for you, or to tell your story for you, I don't think I don't see the value in that. And that kind of takes me to, if the LLM is doing something, you asked it, you brought a prompt, and actually everything that's interesting would be in the prompt, because the rest just came out of LLM, and I could put the same prompt in LLM to get the same thing out. So if you ask LLM to generate me a picture that is interesting, then it's going to generate something, but you didn't provide anything. And anyone could put their message in. So you're not adding anything to the world, and you're not creating art. But your prompt may have very interesting ideas, or have an important message or anything, but it would be the prompt that contained it, not the output from AI. So I advocate to bring your prompts as much as possible. And this is for art as well as in code. If you are generating code that, we'll get into more details about software engineering and code. But if you're sharing it with another human, it is the initial message, the prompt that contains the payload, and the anything that's generated from that is almost noise. So I'd rather see the prompt than the noise. So vibe coding and software engineering. Well, here's my prompt for the image that I would put with vibe coding and software engineering. So letting LLM generate code for you in a software project, it's very, very, very powerful. And actually, it's actually sometimes too powerful even for the most experienced software engineers. So if you attempt to use LLMs to generate code or to vibe code without experience, then it's likely that you're going to hurt yourself. So it should be handled with extreme care if it's important. If no one can be hurt by the code that you're producing, by all means. And I'm not the person to tell you whether you should not use vibe coding in art or in software engineering, but I can tell you what I would do, when I would use it and when I would not use it. At least the core principle, like with the vibe coding in art, being about your creative thought and about your expression, I think in software engineering, there is another couple of qualities that make me wary of using it. Firstly, if you outsource your critical thinking to vibe coding, then you are hurting your ability to be relevant. If vibe coding or LLM is thinking for you, then you are no longer necessary for the process. So if you are using this to at your job or at school or anywhere, and if you are trying to grow, if you use vibe coding or LLM to replace your critical thinking, then you are making yourself obsolete. And also, to outsource your learning. Solving a problem is often about taking a few wrong turns before you take the right one. And it is in the taking of the wrong turns that you learn. If you just see the right turn each time, but it's the only turn that was there, if you're ever presented with multiple turns, you don't know which one to pick, because you don't know why a turn is wrong or right. So it's just very important to, when you're using AI, make sure that you are critically thinking and you are learning. So when would I personally use vibe coding? So to me, vibe coding is an amazing way to experiment, to have an idea and to take it to maybe I wouldn't have the time to explore this idea or to try something out. But now with vibe coding, I can do all of the scaffolding and the boilerplate and like figure out how to use some library, some code library that I haven't used before to get some objective, to get to some goal. And it is to explore ideas. If I have an idea that maybe I'd want to use, but I don't know what the end result would look like yet or how it would feel to handle the end result, I can try and put it in front of me using vibe coding. Or to demo something, like to share an idea with others when it's important for me to have someone else see or feel what my idea is like. If it's a web page, if they can navigate it and they can experience the interaction, I can use vibe coding to get there and get some understanding of what it would be like if I had done it right. And then generally for fun, it can be a lot of fun to use vibe coding. You just type away and you can see like it's like you have these gigantic, you have like a magic wand and you can just make things happen by waving it, and it costs no effort. Of course, that is when you when everything works, but we'll see in the demo how that goes. So when would I not vibe code? So these are just a few reasons that make me worried or wary of using vibe coding. If I'm selling code as a product, and it's vibe coded and I don't understand what the code is doing, then I wouldn't be comfortable selling it because someone will come with a problem and I don't know how to solve it, and then I will lose my customers, or I might even get into bigger trouble. And if the code is serving customers, that is very similar. So if I'm not selling the code, but if the code is if people are going to rely on my code, then because with vibe coding, there are a lot of issues with the reliability, because often if you just prompt it to get to one outcome, LLM will just make that one outcome happen, but it won't think about how it relates to any other outcomes in your product. So you added one feature and everything worked fine. Then you add a new feature and then it broke the old one, or it changed something and now it works slightly different and they're not compatible. And that kind of thing is, if you don't understand how your code is put together, that will happen all the time. And the more things you add, the more risk and the more opportunities for problems like that to arise come up. Then if the code is handling anything sensitive, I see my list was cut off, but say my code is handling payment information or personal data of users, that is one of the areas where, as a product, if something goes wrong, you're in big trouble. So even for this is like, even if I am demoing something, I wouldn't put real sensitive data in my vibe coded application or my vibe coded demo, because there are all kinds of ways in which an LLM can accidentally push the credentials to some public place or to a GitHub, or it can send it anywhere. That is just a non-starter for me. If I'm sharing code with others, this is a very big one, because say you work in a company and everybody's contributing code every day. There's a process for new code that's added to the shared repository to make it in. You do code review, and people check each other's code to see if it makes sense, and they'll make remarks on what things could be better, or some or which things are not clear. Now, if you start writing, have LLM write code that you don't understand yourself, and then you try to bring it to a repository where other people need to understand what the code is doing. Well, how can you expect someone else to know what this code does if you yourself don't know what it does? So if you're in any environment where people need to understand the code, there's just no place for vibe coding. So even if you included vibe coding in your process, it is your responsibility to know exactly what it is doing before you expose that code or you share it with others. And then these other two, they were kind of in the 2 points I raised for what is important around vibe coding software engineering. If I want to learn how something works or how to solve a problem, I will not vibe code. I will use AI assisted coding. I will research. I will discuss implementations. I will maybe have boilerplates to get started, but I will not ask LLM to do the work for me because I want to learn. I want to understand how something works, and I want to take a few wrong turns so that I understand the problem better. And then if in the future I'm faced with it, I can explain why we choose a decision, why we choose a certain direction, or why I chose a certain solution. And then to practice is another one. It's very quickly that you lose your skills if you let AI write all your code for you. Now, there are like Anthropic itself as a company, they broadcast widely how nobody's writing code anymore. Claude is writing everything, and they're going so fast. I'm sure they, if you measure by how much code they write, they must be going very fast. But um, it's not a realistic environment. They have infinite money. They have control all of the models. And they have hired the best people in the world to do all of this. And even then, when the code was released that is being written and people were scrutinizing it, it wasn't the high quality that you'd expect from a top performing team. So the downside, like they're going fast, but you hear a lot of them also say that they forget how to write code themselves, and that because they don't write any code anymore, they let LLM do it. They don't even feel the need to. But if you're at Anthropic, then okay, you can rely on the business, and if for some reason it doesn't work anymore, like the company, it's your reliance on them is tight. They have no other place to go. But if you are not at Anthropic, you are at your own company, you make yourself dependent on Anthropic. Firstly, you are dependent on what price they set on the tokens, and secondly, you are reliant on the quality of the models. If anything happens with the quality of the LLM code, and you yourself don't have the skills anymore to fix it, your product might end because if you lose the skills to do things yourself and LLM does everything, when when Anthropic is down, you cannot work. It's this slide. I'm spending a long time on this slide, and I'm rambling a bit, but it's important that LLM code is it's a big risk, and if you're learning and this is a program for students, it's a dangerous game to play, to even consider vibe coding as something that you want to use in your professional growth. So yes, vibe coding in production, that is basically, I wouldn't do it. You can do a prototype, you can experiment, you can explore, but if you're putting something in production and others are going to rely on what you're building, then vibe coding itself is for me not an option. You can have AI assisted coding, but you need to understand what your code is doing. Otherwise, you cannot oversee the risks that you're introducing. But vibe coding in general. Two more notes. Same idea, different flavor. If you are learning to code, you cannot really use vibe coding because you don't know when it's right or wrong. So you cannot correct LLM yet. You need to learn to correct something that's wrong. And that's when, the wrong turns that I'm talking about. You need to understand why something is incorrect or why something needs to change. And then once you do know, when you know what you're doing and you use LLM, you find that a lot of the time you need to correct it. So in both cases, LLM actually gets in your way a lot of the time. So that is for me why I might be a dinosaur, and it's because I started coding in a time when LLMs weren't there, maybe. But I cannot stress enough how I wouldn't recommend LLM coding for your own growth or for anything serious. However, because it's so much fun, today I want to do something special, and I want to run a project from absolute zero, from scratch. So I'm going to open my editor and we're going to start a project, and I hope in some point, like in some way, to build this together. And I'm going to be using Claude and vibe coding most of it. But before we do, let's see if anyone has any questions so far. I've been told there's a 3-minute delay, so the questions might show up a little later than this moment. Maybe Sumia, you can let me know if there's anyone that has a question.
Okay. But so far we don't have questions on the chat.
Okay. And for the rest of this session, we're going to be doing it live. And I would really encourage anyone to interject. And actually, the project we're building should also allow you to collaborate or to interact anyway. So I guess let's get started. I'm just gonna open Claude. I'll use Claude today. And let's see. All right. I am doing a live stream, and I want to a live stream on vibe coding, and I want to demonstrate how it works with an app, with a website. On this website, I want the viewers to be able to provide ideas that we may implement, and then also a way to upvote the ideas. Can you give me a quick scaffold of a project to facilitate this? So what I'm doing now, I'm doing the very basic version of using LLMs to code. I'm just in chat. I'm just asking it to build something, and I'm not using any of the coding agents or anything like that. Maybe later in this session, we can try some of that too. But for now, I'm going to start with just this. Okay. So I see Claude already render some of the ideas. Oh, this looks fun. Okay, so working prototype with all the core features. Yes, text input, upvote toggle, top new sort, top idea, basic XSS protection on submitted text. Now this is nice. We can talk about this later, but it is already adding some security features to this basic prototype. That is a nice touch. So to make this production ready for a real stream, the main thing you'd want to add is a backend, so votes persist across viewers. That is true. I am going to need that. All right. Want me to scaffold the full React app with the backend of your choice or build any specific projects for it? Okay, so what I'm going to do now, it's given me a nice idea what this could look like. It's not showing me the code just yet, but I'm going to go ahead and separate some of the problems so that it's going to be easier to work with. So let's say I will want a persistence layer, probably a Postgres. Yeah, let's say a Postgres DB, sure. SQLite is fine too. But I think Postgres will be nice for a production grade thing. Postgres DB. But for now, create a scaffold where it will be easy to change the persistence layer later. All right, so I'm not being super specific, but I am already saying like I want to separate the project into the part that is the website and then the part that's for storing the data. Good call. He's going to do a repository pattern. The key architectural choice is that you swap persistence layer by only changing one file. Okay. ID repository, in-memory ID repository, Postgres ID repository. Okay, that's good. So I'm seeing that for my ideas, it's created a front-end and a back-end project. And yeah, let's see what it cooks up. Oh, it's already busy. So this is nice. This is a pattern that I would also use in my own projects. It is when you create an application and you have a part of it that you may want to change later. For example, here the database. You can design the way that you want to interact with your database. In our world, maybe we need a way to like create a new idea. We need to upvote or downvote an idea, and then we need to retrieve the ideas from the repository. So if we create some kind of, you call it an interface, you describe those ways to interact with the backend, then you can have different implementations for it. So that means that in memory, we can just spin up some in-memory object to read and write from, and then we have a Postgres implementation later when we spin up a database and we do it proper. By the way, this session, I was told we have varying levels of experience with coding. So sometimes I'll be talking about these technical subjects, but I'll try to keep an overarching thread of just the features that we want to build that are non-technical. But I think what's going to be helpful if you are not a software engineer or a coder and you don't want to learn to become one, that you understand all of the technical details that I would think about as a software engineer. So that if you are building anything, vibe coding anything, and you're not thinking about those things, you know what issues you might run into. Okay, so it's zipping it for download, presenting files.
Yeah, sorry, Jesse.
Yes.
Yeah, someone is complaining that the screen is not visible.
It's not
Uh,
visible.
yeah, so either you could go to I don't know if you could switch to light mode on Claude and zoom in. Two things.
Okay.
I don't know if Claude has that.
I don't know. I can definitely zoom in.
Yeah, so I think you're zooming. Yeah, so that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good call. Thank you. Um. All right. So yeah, let me know please if it's not visible or anything. Um. Actually, can I hide view? I just wanted to hide my tab bar, but I guess it's too late. Well, whatever. So what are we looking at? Idea board, live streaming, stream ID voting app. Upload your favorites. So we have the same directory structure, backend, front end. I see it's using React and JSX. That's going to be helpful. Then this is how to get started. And then here's the instructions for Postgres. Okay. And here we have an API. So it set up the backend endpoints, listing ideas, creating ideas, upvote, downvote, and removing ideas. Okay. So, right, here is the persistent layers behind the contract. This is what I was also talking about. I call it an interface. They have a contract. I'm curious what it's going to look like. So let's see. Download all. I'm going to download into our vibes. Okay.
So someone mentioned that yes, you could go to your settings on your computer, then appearance, and select light mode. No, appearance. Yeah.
You can do. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that works.
It's all good. Yeah. Nice. Thanks.
All right. Okay, so I'm just unzipping the files. We've got backend, front end. I'm just unzipping all of those as well. We've got README. Okay, so I'm going to open this in my Visual Studio. And then we have this one. Open Udara Vibes. Okay, so front end, back end files. You can delete that one. Right. So there's a bunch of code. Right now, I'm going to not look at all of the specific code just yet. I'm going to choose some moments to dive into the specifics of the code, but the spirit of vibe coding is that we don't look at it. But at some point, it will be good to understand if I took a deeper look, what I would actually see as a software engineer. But let's see if this works for starters. We had the README, so we want two terminals.
Jesse, can I interrupt quickly? Let's
Yeah.
maybe change this window to light mode.
Oh, this one as well. Yeah,
Can
sorry.
you just go to help? Oh yeah, you know this themes.
Themes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. So here, go settings, themes.
Color themes. Yeah. And then light contrast. There'll be high contrast light mode.
Okay. Yes. Themes.
Just press down arrow.
High contrast light. Yeah. Here. Okay.
Awesome.
Good. Thank you. So I'm gonna open a terminal. A terminal over here, and I'm gonna just check. All right. I'm gonna go into the backend first. Backend. I'm gonna npm install. And then I'm going to npm run dev and see what happens. Okay. So it's running on here. If I go there, it says I cannot get. But at least that makes sense. It looks like it's doing something. I'm going to open up another terminal. For the second one, I'm going to go into front end. Yes. Then I'm going to npm install. And then I'm going to npm run dev. So if I go here now, so we have an idea board. What would I like to build live? Let's see. Does this work? Can I add hello idea board? Can I add anything? All right, it's there. Can upvote. Okay. And if I refresh, that works. So what if I go to my browser? Does that work? All right. So, okay, it worked. It created an idea board. Now, I guess what I would like to do is to make sure that everyone can access it. So I'm going to see. Cool, that works. I want my viewers to be able to access the board. How can I share my local application publicly? ngrok. Okay. ngrok. Well, I happen to know ngrok, but if I didn't, this is a piece of software that's going to allow me to publish my local URL and make it available to you guys. So let's see if I have brew. I'm going to open up another terminal. Oh. And then I'm going to go brew install ngrok. I don't have brew. All right. Then how do I get brew? Actually, I can just paste this. This is what I got. It says I'm on Linux, which is not technically true. I am on Mac, though. I think I actually know why this is, and that's because I have different setups. So this is because I mess with my settings now. It doesn't work here, but let's see. If I echo this, what's it gonna do? Yeah, and then no, doesn't exist. So let's see. Can I install ngrok without brew? Okay. Well, I'm just going to install this ngrok. Let's see how it does. Now, it's usually not, it's quite dangerous to just take a link and install it. So I'm going to have a quick look at what this is. Equinox.io. I guess that redirects to ngrok. Download and install. You know, I should be able to get ngrok to work. Sorry, brew to work. That is, huh. Well, if something bad happens to me, then something bad happens to me. But I'm vibe coding, so. So let's see. I downloaded this. And what is this ngrok? I'm in front end. Let me move ngrok to here, ngrok here. So I'm running ngrok. And then, all right, let's go back here. We have ngrok. I need an account. So let me sign up.
Would you want to stop sharing screen at any point?
For now, this is okay.
Okay.
If I am asked to enter anything sensitive, I will stop.
Okay, cool.
But I want to show everything that I'm doing, so. Okay, log in with Google, accept. Oh, I can't log in with Google. Maybe I can log in with GitHub. All right. Okay, I made it in. My auth token. Now, let's see. If I can create an auth token, I'm happy to have it for now. Oh yeah, I can just reset my auth token. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create an auth token now because I'm sharing this. You can see my auth token. Normally, you wouldn't want that to be public, but right now I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do with it. So I'm going to show my auth token, and because I'm streaming, I'm just going to delete it when I'm done. Wait, your auth token? Show, hide auth token, show auth token. Do I have one yet? API keys. So, okay, when I went here, your auth token, it says show auth token, and then it didn't show me anything. So create a service user and generate, that's better. So update pay as you go. Do I need to pay? Okay, I guess I need to pay for this. We'll see. Wow, this ngrok, so I remember ngrok, and ngrok used to just work. You just run ngrok and on your command line, and you get it to work. And now it's stopped working, and I can't log into their website. And yeah, I'm actually going to ask Claude because this doesn't look very good. And ngrok is asking me to create an account, and their website is not working, and I can't see my auth token. Do you have an alternative? Cloudflare tunnel, no account needed for quick sharing. Grab the binary directly. Okay, so this is another one. Okay, this is from github.com/Cloudflare. So I guess that looks trustworthy. I mean, I should probably check it, but also I'm just gonna use it. And if something bad happens to me, then that's part of vibe coding. So let's see if that happens. And then chmod plus x, and then we're gonna, well, it's asking me to move it to bin, but I'm just gonna run it locally here. Oh, wait, Apple Silicon. So probably I actually need this one. Let's see. It will tell me if it's wrong, I'm sure. Okay. So I think I got the wrong one because I have Apple Silicon. So let's try the other one. Okay. Okay. And then okay. So what is in here? Not found. Haha. That's funny. I just put in this URL, but it doesn't exist. It says not found. So okay. It said not found when I ran the curl on the Apple Silicon. Let's just copy this one. SSH option, 0 installs, works immediately. Wait, does this work? I can just paste this and then, but can my viewers access that link remotely? Oh, I mean, all I want is for you guys to start submitting ideas. What is it saying? Localhost.run. Interesting. Is that, okay, let's see. Sure, I trust it. Anonymous user. Can I open? Blocked requests is not allowed. To allow this host, add to server allowed host in vconfig.js. Okay. So my backend. Wait, where's my vconfig? Ah, there, my front end. And then it says to server.allowed host server. Okay, so I'm gonna add allowed hosts. And then I'm gonna add this one. I'm gonna save it. And then server restarted, okay. And it's live. Okay. Well, we have a link. I'm gonna copy paste it. I'm gonna put it in chat. I guess, you know what? If I put it in private chat, can you guys put it on YouTube or somewhere?
Yeah, we could do that.
Thank you. So I hope to see ideas pouring in when this link goes live. Of course, I remember now there's a 3-minute delay before the stream actually shows this. So maybe in the meantime, I will.
I shared it now, so we are cutting that 3-minute short.
Oh.
People are in the future, they don't know what
Oh
happened.
yeah,
They saw
okay.
a link.
But it's interesting. They won't know what the link is yet, or they'll just see me struggling with ngrok and brew before they know what this means. So I think now that ideas are going to come in, I'll spend some time on the Postgres backend so that we're ready to make changes to the page while to keep our ideas around while we reload. Let's go here. So what did it say? I see it has some SQL things already. All right, I'm going to go back to my Claude. Yay, that worked. Before the ideas start pouring in from the viewers, I want to set up the database. What needs to be done for that? Oh, we got another brew. I should really just make brew work, huh? How about SQLite? That would be easier.
Sorry, the link hasn't come in. I don't know if you sent it. Sorry, can you send it again?
Oh, hey! Someone said something very nice. I don't know if it's true. Agentic loop. Okay, well, I'm gonna wait for the upvotes to see what we should be doing, but I see some ideas have come in. That's great. So actually, that is a nice idea and something that I was thinking about, the agentic loop. If we can set up Claude so it can read ideas from the board and implement them, then maybe I can take my hands off and then Claude can run the rest of the presentation. So let's see if we can get there. But first I need to get the database to work. And okay, I'm gonna try one more time to get brew to work because that will make things a lot easier. So let's see. I'm just gonna start a new screen, a new Claude, and I'm gonna say, my brew is not working on my MacBook. Saying, and I'll let's open a dedicated terminal here. I say brew, it says brew command not found. All right. Oh, is it? It's saying in bash. Let me check real quick. I know bash is one of the terminals. Maybe I have it set up for, I see they use Z. That is for Z shell. That might be different than bash. Let me check. If I open terminal and I do brew here, same here. Okay. No such file. Oops. Apple Silicon. Okay. I'm on Apple Silicon. Ran the commands and got this. Homebrew isn't installed yet. Run the installer.
Can I? I tried posting the link, and YouTube is removing my links. Maybe
really?
We have the random number combination there.
Oh,
I tried posting
okay.
like 5-6 times, and I said
right.
hi, and hi works. But if I add a link,
send it again. Sorry, could you?
Oh, that's interesting.
Could you send it again in private?
Could I send it again? Or this one? Can you put it in the?
Yeah, send it again in private chat.
Put it in the description of the video.
No, so just put it in the private chat.
I've got a visitor here. Let me.
Sai, could you send it in the private chat? Let me post it in.
Okay, perfect.
It is in the private chat. Jesse already.
I just had someone deliver a great idea. Because actually, when I ran the command, I went past this, but there's a QR code. So you can just...
Can you send it again in chat, in the private chat?
So let's see. This is
the
going to
code
be on the
works.
screen. And then I go here. I don't know how to share it permanently, but at least people can... I'll try and keep it on my screen. Actually, I'm going to put the QR code on the website. How about that? So that's going to be the next... okay. All right. Hey, Claude, I have a QR code that I want to display on the website. How do I do that?
I think the link is blocked in some countries, maybe. If any,
Oh.
can you try and check if it is opening? Because it's opening for me, and
Okay. Let me
Vitali
try my end.
says it's not opening for him.
Okay, let me check on my end.
I have the file locally, just need to host it. Drop it in the frontend's public folder, and then add this. Okay. So I'm going to add this to ideaboard.jsx. Ideaboard.jsx. Let's see. I put the image here, QR code.png. Then
See, I think we are hitting the rate limit. Maybe I'm getting no
rate limits. What? Do we have that many ideas? Well,
because like someone said it worked for them a minute back and it stopped working now.
That's interesting. Well, it sounds like we have a new problem to solve then. I hope Claude can help us with that one too. So we have, sorry, my desktop. Wait. Where are my... Wait, I'm going to click new screenshots. So I'm going to open the Finder. Well, if I'm going to try and publish this URL, it's not going to be useful if people can't access it. So maybe I should try and solve the rate limiting first. Okay. It seems not all of my viewers can access the link. Some suggest it could be rate limited. Others, it may be country dependent. Any ideas? Free tier. Best free option. Try the exact release URL. So it's saying Cloudflare Tunnel is the best free option. So, I mean, one more try. Let's see if I actually go to the website. They have the releases. So I'm going to see if there is a release that I can download. Okay. Okay. Is this the right one? Well, it's saying this one, Cloudflare Darwin ARM64. I'm not sure that's the right one, but we'll just see. Cloudflare Darwin ARM64. Let's download this one. We put it in vibes. Okay, Cloudflare 2. I'm going to delete the old one. Delete this one. This was the one I just downloaded. Okay, so I've unzipped that one. Let's see. Yes, chmod plus x cloudflare, make it executable. Then we run this. Not opened. Could not verify. It's free of malware. May harm your Mac. Allow anyway. See? All of this, I'm just vibe coding. I'm actually hoping something bad happens or not. We'll see. Open. Anyway, there we go. Unable to find config file. All right, that's good. It said unable to find config file. Oh, I used Cloudflared. All right, okay. Cloudflared, tunnel, URL. Let's see. Now, thank you for trying Cloudflare tunnel. Doing so without a Cloudflare account is a quick way to experiment trying out. However, be aware that accountless tunnels have no uptime guarantee. Subject, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Error, unmarshalling, quick tunnel response error, invalid character E. Looking for beginning 500 internal. What is this? Error on marshalling, quick tunnel response. Error code 1101, invalid character E. Looking for, well, that is a 500 from quick tunnel. Looking for E. I'm just going to ask Claude again. Great. Cloudflare is down. I can't use Cloudflare. So try ngrok again. What a shame.
I think, Jesse, there's a way maybe to use ngrok without paying. I was just trying to find that. I don't know if you have a different solution.
Yeah, I mean, even if I end up having to pay for ngrok, that's also okay. It's just that just now it wasn't even working. So if I log in with GitHub, ngrok, then I get my auth token. Maybe I needed to create a service user. And then I go upgrade to pay as you go. So you're saying that maybe I could use a free one, but I couldn't use a service user for that. Auth tokens. Oh, okay. Here we go. Auth token. So we say Udara vibes. And could not load owner options. Retry. Okay. So, upgrade. So it gave me the option to create a new user or to create an auth token, but then it couldn't fetch the information from my account. And now I am back to the login screen while I was just logged in. Well, and I accept. Try Google again. Didn't work. So if
maybe Jesse, yeah? I do see a link here. I sent you a link in the private chat.
Yes.
Check that. It shows me an auth token for me. I don't know if it's an example token. Let's maybe.
Great, perfect. Let's try that. Thank you so much. I hoped to use ngrok anyway. So, all right. Ngrok config add auth token. Oh yeah, I need to use the ngrok that I have right here. So this was saved. And now if I use ngrok, let's see. Okay, I go back here. I got ngrok auth token. How do I use it again? All right. ngrok HTTP 5173. Let's see. Okay. Thank you, Sai. We've got this URL. You're about to visit blocked request. We've done this before. I'm going to take this URL. I'm going to add it to my list of allowed hosts. So there we go. We've got 2 now. And let's save. It's restarted. We try again. All right, we have a new link. Now, I want to create a QR code for this link so that I can share it. Create QR. Actually, let's ask Claude again. Can you create a QR code for this link or send me somewhere to do it? No, yes, that's the right one. Okay. You know what? Sometimes you can just Google. It's interesting. It could be functionality that Claude could have learned, but it is quite a hard one. So I'm just going to go to Google, generate QR code. Yes. Well, while that's loading, I want to try another one as well. Generate QR code. Website URL. Website URL. Okay, we have a QR code. Can we I'm going to just use my own phone to see if it works. Visit site. Okay, that worked. There is a little interstitial. Sorry for the ad. But this QR code works. And if I now have Finder up, I'm going to take a picture of this QR code and I'm going to drag it into my front end. I'm going to call it QR code. And then do we have a public? So let's see. Claude told me to front end public. Okay. So front end, new folder. Why is there no new folder? Okay, well, I'll just go here. Front end, make there public, and then I'm going to drag the QR code into there. All right, so let's see if I go to the website now. No QR code. Let's see in my network. It's not even trying to load anything. So let's build a lighter alternative of ngrok hassle-free version. Nice, I like that. I like that idea. And the world needs it. So image. Yeah, so I should have this QR code. I'm going to put it inside the header. I think the URL here. Oh, that should work. Public QR code.png. Let's see if I go to my. So you can go. This is my backend running. This is my front end running. So, there it is. Okay. So at least while this is up, you can take a picture of this. I hope that it's large enough. Cool. So now we have 2 links. And let's see. Maybe I can even keep the QR code open here as well. All right, so I can just create, there we go. So we'll have the QR code up. And now we can go back to building features. So I wanted my my Postgres DB, but let's see first what it's actually doing. We have this. It mentioned that it had a repository, idea repository.js. Okay. And this is an interface contract. You must implement these 5 methods. And then you can swap the persistent layer. Okay. No other file change. Single import in server.js. So server.js should have some line that is in memory idea repository as repo. And then repo ideas router for repo. Okay. So if we want to set up Postgres, I need to find Postgres somewhere. Okay, that worked. Did I have, this was for brew. I was busy with brew. Well, this is with agentic coding. If you can, like, especially, yeah. We're still doing one thing at a time, and we'll keep it that way for now until we have an agentic loop. But you can get distracted. You see, we try to do one thing. We just try to host our website. And to do that, we could use ngrok, but then I didn't have brew. And then when I went to another site, that didn't work. And then I needed to host my QR code. So there's lots of problems that come up every time you try to do something. Actually, I find that is true most of the time when I work. I have a nice, maybe we run sprints and you say, by the end of this sprint, I'm going to implement this feature. But then you work in a code base where all kinds of things are half finished or are not working yet, or something changed. Other people are pushing changes. So you'll find that often the work that you set out to do is actually only a part, because you need to update some version of your library here, and then you need to change the database schema to match the changes that you're introducing. And you end up with a lot of work that's unforeseen, and also a lot of work that's not really writing code. And you can see with Vibe Code, you can ask Claude to write a bunch of code, but then if I have to go and create an account somewhere and do a few things and then fix them, there's still a lot of work that isn't captured by just LLM writing code. I think that so far has been quite authentic. So, and let's see. Let's build an LLM code assistant agent, something like Claude, but we vibe coded from scratch using Claude. Hey, that's big. I've tried this actually. It's kind of a nice first thing to build when you learn about code agents, because they'll help you understand very well how they work. Arsenal Champions image generator. So we have a soccer fan here. Drag and drop Kanban board. Well, so far, yes, I was going to do Postgres, and then once we have that, because I'm worried that because we have an in-memory database, that means that if I close my application, I should lose all of my data. That's what in-memory means, because the memory is freed as soon as you kill your server. So as soon as I end this, then we would lose all of the ideas, and that's what I want to avoid. So I want to install Postgres. Actually, I know that I would like to run Postgres as a Docker container. I already know that might be a nice way to run it. And because, let's see if I have Docker. Gosh. Docker, it's there in my home directory. So if I go here, I go home, I find Docker. Let's see. Open. Okay, I happen to know this. So I'm just gonna say, tell Claude that I have Docker and I heard it is a nice way to run things like Postgres locally, but also in production. Is that so? Could you help me set that up? Okay. It's already adding a new Docker Compose file. That's interesting. Now, there is another technology that I would actually prefer to use here. It's called Nix. It's very nice, but I think for this demo, I'm going to stick with Docker because it's a little more accessible. But if you're very interested in different and superior ways to manage your dependencies, you can ask me questions about it. Created 4 files. Health check on the Postgres service so the backend waits for it to be ready. Remember to swap the import. Yeah, we just saw the import in server.js. So actually, now that we're also adding changes, I think it's time to make sure that we can roll things back. So I'm going to go to GitHub, and I'm going to create a repository for this code to live. So I'm going to create a new repository, and it's going to be owned by me, and it's going to be called Udara Vibes and demo repo for vibe coding session. It's going to be public, so you can all have a look at it. And I don't want to add anything just yet. Okay, and then I have an existing repository. So I'm just going to run these commands. Let's see if I am in the right place. No, this is not in the right place. Code, and then not a Git repository. Of course, I need to initialize this as a Git repository. And I'm going to say, let me first see what files I have in here. So if I create a new repository, it's going to add all of the files in here to the repo. Now, actually, I have a whole bunch of clutter in my directory that I don't want. So I'm going to add I'm going to ask, to speed it up, I'm not going to ask Claude how to do this. I'm just going to create a git ignore file. And I'm going to make sure that all of my files are not going to end up in the repo. So I'm going to put new folder, and I'm going to call it local. And I want to ignore everything in local. And I'm going to put all the things that I don't want to be shared in there. But let's see. Vibe ideas. What are you? That's the same as this. I'm going to delete you. I'm going to just cleaning this up before I making the first push. So, all right. Well, those are the things that I added. The rest, I'm just going to push as is. Let's see what happens. Git init, git add. What did it say? So I'm tapping into what I know about Git already. I'm going to git add everything. That's taking a long time. I'm going to git commit, and I'm going to add message first commit, and I'm going to git push. And we're going to run this command. Now, okay, so the repo is now live, and that means the QR code should also be live. That's a nice touch. So anyone that can't find it, the QR code is here. So then if you go to my GitHub, github.com/jkz, that's my personal one, and then you can find the Udara Vibes repo in there, and then we can build. And that means that if you want to contribute, you can. So then I'm going to have a look at my repo. And let's see, my first commit, what did it do? Well, it said I added 357,000 lines of code. That's a lot of code. But I also see it's added all of these files that I don't know about. So I think it wasn't just me that added some files. I ignored my own files that I wanted to exclude, but I see it's added a whole other few files. So let's see. My repo contains a lot of files that I didn't add. Oh, it doesn't know. I need a git ignore. Okay. I already created a git ignore. Okay. I need to untrack. And it already knows which directories. All right. So okay, I guess, so I'm trying to figure out what is the right balance, because I already know this was going to happen. When I run npm install, I have all of these files and node modules that it installs. Now, if I then push, like git commit my code to Git, it's going to copy all of them across. And I added this git ignore, but it's not complete. I needed to make sure that it excludes all of the things that are built. So actually, I should ask Claude for a nice way to ignore all of the files. Can you create the full .gitignore file for this project so far? And then also, I'm going to try to remove the files that I don't want. So I know that the git module, the node modules, I go to here, I say git and then we go to front end, and we do the same for front end. Okay. And then I check my git status, and it removes all of these. Git ignore. I want to ignore all of my node modules. Wait, it was going to create it for me. Git ignore. Oh, it's created this whole long git ignore file, so that's nice. I'm going to copy this, I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to also ignore the ones that I wanted to ignore. Okay. Right, and what I did just now was silly. I removed them and then I added them back in. So I need to run this command one more time there, and I go to front end and I run the same command, and now I say git commit fix git ignore. All right, so this is the same commit. If I go to my code now, I have my git ignore here. My backend still has node modules though. Hey. Node modules did not match any files. Well, here's me trying to demonstrate how something goes wrong if you just follow what's on the screen. And I tried to mix it with something I do know, and now I've got it to a state where it's added all of these things that I didn't want to add, and I wanted to just demo how to clean it up. I think that's still a good thing. I want to show how to clean up your repo when you upload files that you don't want there. So oh, I need to git push. I guess my changes are still my local changes. And now, all right, there we go. Node module's gone. Node module's gone. Okay, I just forgot to upload my files. All right, so Postgres, Docker. You can go. Fix that. Let's get back to Docker. And it had already shown me these files. Actually, it has created this Docker compose.yaml, and it's updated these things. It's added a Docker file and an nginx.conf and a Docker ignore here. So I'm just going to download this, copy the files across, and then because we are in a state now where we have existing code and it's a bit cumbersome to keep pasting back and forth to Claude, actually it's time to maybe use Claude Code instead. I think we might be ready for that. So I'm going to go to Vibe Ideas, and I'm going to check the Docker Compose that was added. Move that out here. Then I have this Docker file for backend and a Docker file for frontend. nginx.conf also for frontend. And was that it? I think so. I think that was it. Docker file. Ah, the Docker ignores. Are they not visible here? Is it that thing? Okay, let me just look in my terminal because the files will show there. So we go to Vibe Ideas. I look at everything. There's my Docker ignore. So I'm going to move this Docker ignore from backend to backend. And I'm going to do the same for frontend. I'm going to move this to frontend. All right. And then I'm going to remove these two Okay, so now we should have Docker Compose. Let's have a look what's inside this Docker Compose file. So Docker Compose says that I have some services. I have a database service, a database, a user, and a password. And it opens a port, it sets some volumes, and it has a health check. Okay, then I have my backend. Okay. And then I have a front end. And now it says that, how can I use this? I do Docker Compose up build, and then this should all work. So let's see if that works. Let me first take a look at the board, because we have a lot of ideas and I don't want to lose them. So I'm just gonna screenshot them for now, and then if they are gone, they'll still be there. We can re-enter them. But let's see. So I can run Docker Compose up build. That's what it said. I'm just going to take that. And I'm sure that when I run this, I'm going to get some issues because I'm already running these applications. Oh, Docker is not even found. Maybe Docker. I tried to run Docker, didn't I? I don't see it in my bar here, so it's not currently running. So Finder. So it was in my home, right? I have Docker here. I run it. Can't open because it's not responding. Well, I tried 2 more times last time I downloaded this. Let's see if one of the other ones works. But, okay, Docker is not responding. That's great. Docker is not responding. Maybe I need to re-download Docker. So let me just go and get Docker. I need to sign in again. Download Docker desktop for Apple Silicon. Let's put it in Dar Vibes. Sorry, wrong one. We go here. So Docker is here. Is it done? It's done. So I'll move it to my local files here. Move. And now, oh, actually, that means I can't see it in my, let's see, I'll leave it here to open it. Move it here. Go to Finder. No, it's not what I want. Okay, fine. We go home, code, and then we go to Dara Vibes, and then we see, can we run Docker from here? That one again, double click, verifying. Yes, I want to open. For this one, I know there should be a little icon showing up there. You go away, you go away. Well, looks like Docker is also not collaborating today. So, Docker would be really, really helpful here. So this is, I'll step out of the vibe coding. A problem that we're running into right now, constantly, is that I need some software to run on my machine. And when I go ask Claude, it tells me to go to a link to install it, or it tells me to use Brew to install it. And often that just works. But sometimes, because your computer is slightly different than someone else's computer, it's not going to work on your machine. And then you have to spend time to figure out why it doesn't work. And Claude can help you with that. But if you keep entering your system and your dependencies through something like Claude, um, you're going to keep running into issues, because Claude doesn't know about your machine yet until you maybe write a whole file about what your machine is like. So something like Docker exists to have a single way to describe how to get your dependencies. There's another way. Let's see if I want to do this. I know someone is watching right now who could help me set this up. Maybe he could show up. Like, he gave me another tip as well. But if I go terminal, where is my Docker not starting?
Jesse Swan mentioned Docker CLI in the chat. You can check the chat. You guys in the chat are giving lots of nice ideas.
Docker CLI. So I know. Sorry.
Yeah. You could just be checking the chat, because they're seeing lots
right,
of.
Right. That's actually great. I should have a live chat function.
Yeah, you do.
Site as well, but I should check the. Let me see on the phone.
Like, you want to watch? You want to watch yourself?
I don't want to watch myself. I just want to see chat. Yeah, I don't want to see myself at all. But I guess the chat. I know the chat is here in the comments. All right.
So, like, go to the base. Go to the base. Like the end of it.
The end.
Yeah, like scroll down.
Yes.
Yeah, so you see lots of.
Right. Okay. Install the Docker command line instead of the desktop. As far as I know, like, the desktop would be the way you usually install the background process as well as the front end to use it. But I can let's see. If I go here, install Docker CLI. Install Docker engine. Okay, and I need Docker engine on Mac. These are Linux distributions. I guess maybe the binaries will work on my red thing, but brew install cask Docker. I really should have. This is the problem with my machine. I need to make brew work, and I didn't take the time early on to install brew, and now it's causing me issues down the. So I'm just going to spend, let's say, 10 minutes tops. Hopefully a lot less than that, to make brew work on my machine, because it will be a lot easier. So let's open up a new terminal, and we had brew. Homebrew isn't working, and I need to install. I'm going to Homebrew itself. I go here, and it says this allows me to install Homebrew. So I'm going to install Homebrew. I need access. Oh. And then, yes. Okay. So if this happened to you on your machine, then if you know your own machine and you know how to look things up yourself, you can work it out. If you don't know anything about how to work with a computer and you run into an issue like this, asking Claude, and if it gives you information that you don't understand, it's going to send you further into the weeds. So right now I'm going to add my bash profile. I guess it's already there. Let's see. I have my bash profile there. Oh, right. I'm managing. I made this myself. I made this hard for myself by using another technology, not cleaning my computer. I'm using Nix to manage my machine. And it would have been a really nice thing to demo, but I wanted to keep Nix out of this. It's now currently messing with with my demo. So if I'm just going to yes, we have Homebrew. I just need to run eval this into bash profile. Do we have brew in there? We have brew in there. So if I go this, we have brew. Okay, so now I'm going to brew install Docker. Okay, and then I can run Docker. Which Docker? I know that then probably Homebrew. Is it going to be Docker here? Oh, this guy. Okay, so if I have Docker now. Great. So if I have Docker, I can Docker. Let's go back to the command that I needed to run. We have Docker compose up build. Compose up build. Docker compose up build is not working. Unknown flag. Docker compose. Huh.
Jesse, maybe you could check the chats. Some people are saying some very interesting things.
All right. Let's see. Cast Docker, just drag and drop the damage, bro. That's what Mac needs from you. Double click to download the damage file to open it. He already did. Yeah. And then agree to service agreement. Enter your Mac password to grant system privileges. Forgot to drag and drop. You open it but not drag and drop. What is the link of the developed file code idea? CD into project there, bro. Bro, make that brew persistent in the yes. Okay, so thank you. I mean, this Docker, I got Docker to install now. I got some tips to drag and drop this into here. I know that I've been running Docker from like the double click before, so that wasn't an issue, but it could have been an issue today. I'll take that. Right now, this Docker doesn't have compose, and okay. I know from experience that Docker compose used to be a separate thing to Docker, and now it's become a part of it. But this version doesn't have Docker compose as part of it. So I wonder if this is an old version of Docker, which means I might need to update my Docker version. Or latest 92.5. This is 92.5. So why is there no Docker compose? Okay. gosh. Okay, it's saying that indeed I'm using the older version, but that's strange because I thought that this is the new version. At least that's what they say here. So let's see in this bin directory what else we have. We don't have Docker Compose. Painful, 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 painful. So I guess I can just Docker. Hey. Well, this could be something we debug. Let's see. What does chat say? Prince program, by the way. What do you mean? Okay, nothing new there because it's three minutes.
No, you need to scroll down. No, you need to scroll down.
Oh, I can scroll down again? Okay.
Yeah, you didn't scroll to the base. Yeah.
Ah, yes. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna, let's go back to Claude. Let's see what Claude says because I did get Docker to work and I'll tell it that I have this specific Docker here. And then what can it do? So I have Docker installed now via brew. I'm calling it directly like this. And then I get an error message. Unknown command, Docker Compose. Brew install Docker Compose. Okay, that makes sense. So brew install Docker Compose. Okay, so we've got this guy. Docker Compose up build. Docker daemon is not running. Okay, so Docker daemon is not running. Docker desktop is not running. So it does need it wants the Docker desktop, that thing that we did. So, okay, fine. Let's drag it in. Ten seconds. All right. To stay on track, we're just installing Docker so that we can run our project and we can have PostgreSDB so we can keep our suggestions around. So now in applications, I should have Docker here. Docker is here. Verifying. Yes, I want to open it. Well, that's not giving me a lot. And then daemon. Any way I can tell it to start? Restart the terminal, he says. Actually, that might be it. Let's see. If Docker Compose are built, nope, because this is actually connected to Okay. Well, given we have 35 minutes, and it would be good to get Postgres working with Docker. But right now, we're just fighting my local machine settings. And again, this is what a lot of programming is like when something doesn't work and it's messy. And you just want to do the fun thing, but there's all these things that get in the way. So especially if you're writing something for a production use case versus if you're vibe coding. If you're vibe coding, you're starting fresh and Claude runs and everything runs on your machine. It's great. But even then, if your machine is slightly different like mine, then it all doesn't work. And you have to tinker with everything. And then if you made it work on your machine and then you need to run it somewhere else, then you'll get into all kinds of issues again. But right now,
Jesse, I stepped out for a bit, but did you try start Docker, like sudo system ctl start Docker, system ctl start Docker? Wow. Maybe it's for Linux.
Okay, I'm gonna try one thing. Because I think no, not that one. I want NixOS. And then Nix Darwin disable everything. It's gonna be too painful. I should have cleaned my computer before I did this demo because the two configurations are clashing, and I didn't want to introduce Nix in this. Okay, so if we can't use Docker, then maybe what should we do?
Is there a simple file-based different DB without Docker that we can set up?
Let's try SQLite. I'm struggling to set up Docker on my machine. Can we use SQLite instead? Okay. And also, I guess since we have our repo, and maybe we want Claude to write code inside it, maybe that will speed things up a bit. I'm going to have all of these Docker changes and probably stash them somewhere else. Git status. We have Docker file, nginx-conf, Docker compose, all of it. Let's move Docker to local. Then branch try out Docker, git add, git commit, trying failed to install Docker to get Docker to work. All right, so we go back to main. Okay, so now I've removed all of the Docker changes to some branch with actually, oh, I'll push the branch. If anyone wants to look at that, they can, but let's go back to main and let's try SQLite. SQLite should be simple. And now, because we have this repo and Claude, I'm pasting back and forth, it's painful. Let's see if we can use Claude in here. So Claude code. We don't have Claude. So let's install Claude. I want to use Claude code now in VS Code. But I guess we can just go to the Claude website to install Claude code. Quick starts. So let me clean up some of the tabs. We're not using Docker. Become our repo. And yeah, that's still working. There's the QR code. Claude Quick Start is not. There you are. Okay, so I'm just going to install Claude using this. Okay. And I'm going to export this path to my bash RC. Now I'm sure that because of my clashing config, it's not going to work, but I'm going to make it work here locally. There. And now can we do Claude? We have Claude. Good. We want light mode because that looks better. And let's say I have a Claude account. So, I need to upgrade to use. Okay, fine. I guess I will go and upgrade my Claude. Okay. Wait, what did it say? If I use, you need a Max or Pro to connect to your account and use API key. All right, I will upgrade to Pro then. I will take a month of Pro. Fine. Hey. Okay. Well, I guess if I want to use Cloud Code, I'll try. I can. I won't enter my details on here. I'll just go to my phone, and I'll enter them there, and then that should work here. All right. So yes, upgrade Claude Pro. Okay. So I updated it here. Let's see then. Authorize. Okay, I can close this window now. All right, so I guess I can pay $20 and I can use it for a month. Let's see how far that will get us. So login successful. I'm going to use recommended settings and we're in Udara vibes and I trust this folder. Failed to start Docker desktop, thank you. Okay, so now we have the same thing as we had just now. We have a chat, but now Claude can actually write the code itself. So if I now say, the whole conversation I had just now is gone because it doesn't know about this. So if I want to continue the work, we have to restart building the context for it. So, okay. I used a chat session to come up with this repo, an app for a live vibe coding demo to suggest ideas and upvote them. I want to set up a persistent backend. Actually, maybe let's first give it some context for this project so that we can reuse that for any future work if we start a new session. Can you write a Claude.md for this project real quick? It's pretty small. Front end, back end. So normally Claude.md is a file where you write instructions for agents to navigate your code base. What's interesting about Claude.md is that actually the way that people write these Claude files with instructions for agents, they're usually really helpful instructions for humans. And it's very interesting. I found that in my career so far, people don't really like to write the types of instructions that they write for Claude and Claude.md. They think you write a README and they use all kinds of different language, and they're not to the point, and then they omit some information that they think the human is supposed to know. And then when it comes to Claude.md, suddenly they are very specific and very instructive. So interestingly, Claude.md usually becomes a useful file for everyone, not just for Claude. But in this case, I just get it started, and I'm sure that as we go, we will update the Claude.md file. We have our structure, we have how to run, and then it has the API endpoints, describes all the files. Switching to Postgres, we're going to make a change about that soon. And then tunneling, yes. Okay, this is all good. I want to create this, and all right. And then I'll say commit this. There we go. We keep small changes. Sure. So this is the file that is creating. Great. I want to proceed. My window's getting a little cramped. So let me, okay. Push it. All right, proceed. So now I'm going to ask Claude, setting up Postgres was painful. Can we use SQLite instead? So what I'm expecting to see now is that Claude goes into the repositories and adds a new SQLite. And yes, it's going to install better SQLite. That's fun. Let me keep tabs on the chat in the meantime. Try to zoom. Which IDE are you using, sir? I'm using VS Code. I'm not doing anything fancy. I wanted to keep the interactions kind of pure, just direct with the AI and not have too much magic happen in the background.
Hey, Jesse.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, how much time could you spare? Because I feel like we're gonna. I really want you to, like, finish an express, but I don't know how much time you have to spare with us.
I have to spare. Like it's more about how much time you have to spare. I'm okay getting this to somewhere, and I'm also happy to answer questions. But right now,
Okay. No, I think we're really getting some really good stuff right now. So just to tell everyone on the call, please. I think everyone is learning a lot. So Jesse, take your time. Yeah, just take your time. I think.
Okay.
Because I think we're learning a lot here, so I think we should finish.
All right.
Jesse, can you hit control? Like, can you zoom in a little bit? Control plus maybe once. Yeah.
Okay.
I saw one message. Yeah, it might be a bit weird for you, but
I will close this one. There we go.
That's better.
And then this one can be smaller as well. Okay, what's happening? I'm doing npm install better SQLite, and then I get an error code. Native build failed, missing C++ headers. Let me try fixing the Xcode SDK path. Better SQLite needs a native compilation, which is failing on your Xcode setup. I'll use SQL.js. Instead, it's pure WASM, zero compilation required. Okay. So normally SQLite needs some existing C++ code to run, but apparently they have their own implementation too. All right, here is the SQLite idea repository that we expected. So I see that it implements all of the find all, create, upvote, downvote, and delete. That makes sense. Yes, let's go. Persistence layer, yeah, it's updating the documentation, so it's no longer just Postgres, and it's switching from in-memory to SQLite. Nice. Let's do a quick smoke test. All right, so what is it doing? It is running an inline script to import my SQLite repository. And let's say it's going to create a new one. It's doing all the methods. Let's see what happens. Timeout, command not found. So it expected something to exist, but now it's running it without timeout. Okay, it's created an ideas.db. Let me quickly see if I can SQLite. Is there a? I guess it's fine. It's going to remove the file. So it created this test.db file, and I guess it was happy. So yeah, you can delete that again. And now it's updating Claude.md because now we have our SQLite backend. Yep, that makes sense. And then it's saying switching to Postgres. Yeah, we don't want it to say Postgres anymore. We're not using that right now. And then we keep it in the list, but so what I'm doing right now is not technically vibe coding because I'm still looking at what it's doing. There is an option for me to say, yep, allow everything, in which case it's just going to do these things. And that's that's really the difference between vibe coding and not vibe coding. And right now I'm even being very lenient in what I'm checking. But it's doing good things. It's adding these an extra ignore rule so that we don't commit the DB to Git. Commit this. So then I'll take a look at the current list, which is, oh no, it's already empty because that broke. If anyone that has the site open right now can take a screenshot and send it to me, then we can keep the ideas, because I took a screenshot, but there was a bit of time between when I took it and when the server was closed. But now if I restart, we should have a real database sure. And just to make sure, I see when you get the DB, it's made it so that it immediately checks, does the database already exist? And if it does exist, it opens it, and otherwise it opens a new one in memory. So I need to check whether exists sync. So interestingly, I will need to write myself. It does it here. Okay, so what it's doing, it's loading the DB if it exists, and if it doesn't, it creates a new one. Then it runs this create statement to create a new table. Then it creates an index. And it's interesting. That's nice to have an index, but if we have only 10 or 20 entries on the screen, that doesn't really matter. But it's nice to have for now. And then it saves, which means to write the file to disk. And then, okay, so that looks solid. So then let's run the project and see if it works. So I close this here, npm run dev. I go back here, and now, hi, let's build a music writing. Okay, so the music writing idea is back on, and we have hi there as well. I say hello back, and the upvote worked. If I now reload, that worked. Music writing site, that'll be very creative. Okay, so I see we're interested in writing a music site. So
Yeah, Jesse, you can still check the screenshots though, because the nice ideas there. Like, don't forget about us. You know the screenshots you took. The screenshots you took.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
That's
because
true.
my ideas were there too.
Actually, it was the agentic loop that I think was going to be interesting because that can help us add the other ideas.
Yeah.
So that one, I think I'll go with that one. I have a quick look at the. No, not here. Where are my downloads? My screenshots. I think they're here and here. So we had, I think what I would like to go with next, because I think it will be very helpful for this process to build yeah, I'm going to just, yes, the agentic loop. I'm going to try the agentic loop, and that will be nice because maybe we can have this database which is going to have a bunch of ideas. We can write a Claude loop that checks the database and finds the last idea that was not implemented yet and starts working on it. So, okay, let's try and add that feature. So I see that the website now works again. And, I see, yes, the ideas are floating back in. Good. So I'm going to start off with the agentic coding. And what I want to do now, okay, let's see if we can get something going. We go back to Claude, and let's say there are ideas in the DB now. What I think would be cool and was suggested as one of them is to set up an agentic loop within this project that looks at the top voted idea, marks it as working on, as implementing, then goes off to build it and marks it as done when done. So I've been a little bit prescriptive, not very prescriptive, but I think for this loop to work and to work nicely with, to be interactive, I think it's nice if the agent indicates what it's being worked on. And I expect that there's going to be some changes to the database to mark something as being worked on and to mark something as done. Okay, so agent modifies, this is the plan. New feature. Agent modifies front and back end source files to actually add the feature to the app. Yes. Yes, let's do it that way. Show badges on cards recommended. Ideas shows yes. Okay, that makes sense. Backend only. Yeah, I want to show it on the front end. What should the agent actually produce when it implements an idea? New feature in app. Oh, this is the answer I gave. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so now we're going to be waiting. Yeah, in anticipation, if we look at our ideas repository, right now, find all, create, upvote, downvote, delete. So I want to add a status field to an idea. So probably add status, and then maybe find, I don't know if it's because it's going to use find all and count the votes on there, or have one to find most voted. Okay. Add a status field, status badges, auto pull when something's in flight. Agent implement.js script uses the Claude SDK that picks the top unimplemented idea, marks it, runs an agentic tool use loop to actually edit the source files, then marks it done. Okay. There's one thing that's also important here. If we are going to have Claude edit the files, but it's also running the files, we might be introducing issues. And if we break the site, then we break the database, then Claude might not be able to recover. So I'm curious if it's going to suggest anything around that, where maybe it runs in a different branch or a work tree, and then it can test the feature to see if it works, and then when it's done, it can merge it into main and restart the server. That's something that I would expect. So if I have a look at the sites, oh, the tunnel is dead. But that was just the other one. Set status, there you go. It's added that to, that makes sense. That's what I expected. Then it adds the documentation for it. And of course, we are now currently looking at all the changes, but then going forward, it's probably going to do it autonomously. What I think would be helpful is if the changes are also self-contained in the repo, so we can observe for each feature exactly everything that Claude did. And to also, that will help us see if whenever Claude makes a change, if the vibe code changes, if it sticks to the specific assignment or if it starts changing things that weren't part of the assignment. So interestingly, you can see that it's already tricky because you create a table if it doesn't exist yet. But if it does exist, it means you need to add a column. But I mean, you can't put the adding the column and the creating in the same table, in the same statement, because it would only execute the statement if the table didn't exist. Sorry, this is sort of the index of what I was pointing at. But that means that this is something that normally you call migrations, where you have different versions of your database, and you need to express them all separately because you don't know what state your database is going to be in when you connect to it. So you need to describe all of the different checkpoints from which you may need to update your database to be compatible. So here you see it does inline. It pretends to, this is a kind of an ad hoc migration, but I would expect something a little bit more robust if I was trying to deploy this. So yeah, that makes sense. It's updated the row push. and it's adding it to all of the other queries. And then set status, update, yep, not found. And then it also returns the object after it sets status. Okay. Status null, it sets a default value. And now you see that because we have different implementations of the backend, it needs to make sure that both the SQLite version and the in-memory version need to be updated. So it's going to go through each of the methods again. It's going to add the new one. Now add the patch routes. Okay, so status implementing or done or null. So just adding a new API endpoint. And here, oh, this looks like, oh yeah, it's updating the white space because set status is longer, and then fine. Okay, now it's updating the UI. It's adding a new status class. So I'm expecting to see, here's the status badge. That is part of so the badge is part of the API. Oh no, this is just a const. It's just going to copy this into the, I see, into the element. And it's only going to add a label if there is a badge. And then, right, so it's going to be polling. This is a big change to the website. Because now, whenever anyone's connected to the website, they will start making a request every 3 seconds. Now, if there's, I don't know how many of you are watching right now, but that's okay. But every time it's going to hit the website, is also going to read from the database. Now, SQLite is okay, but it's not very good at handling a lot of connections. So it's possible that now that we start polling our DB, even if it's only 3 seconds, now we start receiving requests all the time, and that might start to affect the database, especially if you have a larger application. But this is a point where if the database is not set up to be able to handle this, you would start running into issues. It's going to be fine right now, but one of those points. All right, we have some styling, I believe it. And we need an Anthropic SDK. All right, while I'm waiting, I need to keep checking. Seller push-up agentic loop, downvoting feature. Okay. Oh, let's go here. Agents.js. All right, this is the script that's going to run the Claude code to look at the database, find the top voted unimplemented feature, and start working on it. So right now, this is quite a lot of code to let anyone go. I see it's made some command line tool with some documentation on how to use it. Oh, sorry, this is a system prompt rather than what was I looking at? It's fully, okay, that's nice. So read file, write file, list directory. That's all the tools it needs. So it sets them up locally. Handle tool, it performs the task, and then you're an autonomous feature implementation agent for Udara Vibes, a live vibe coding demo app where the audience submits and upvotes ideas to build in real time. By the way, I see it's 9:30. It's time now. I'm happy to continue because it feels like we're finally at the point to have some fun.
Yeah. I think we can maybe push for like maybe 30 minutes extra.
Sure,
We'll
sounds
be
good
able
to
to
me.
finish. Yeah, we'll be able to finish by then. Is that enough time?
Sorry?
Is that enough time for us to finish?
I mean, what does finish look like, right? We're just adding features. So I would like to see this agent implement another feature. That's at least a nice point. And then after that, maybe I'll leave it running and we
Question.
can see what happens. But I
Okay.
think, yeah, getting the loop to work would be a nice,
Okay, fine.
a nice
Solid.
point. Okay, so it has a mini Claude MD. I think in some other repos you might consider this a skill where you tell it what to do and which tools you have access to. So interesting. It's created this tiny agentic loop, and it's saying to implement an idea. User says implement this idea in the code base. We have the idea from, I guess that idea. Oh, it's not using types. I would prefer it wrote TypeScript for this. Let's I'll put this first, see if it works, and then maybe change it to TypeScript. But this is another one. Did we not use we didn't use TypeScript in other places either? Did I not notice? Yeah, we have just JS. Silly, but yeah, I would prefer to use TypeScript for this project. So it's gonna implement, and then it's gonna patch status, and then okay, and then reset stuck. Sure. While ideas, so while true, it's gonna get ideas, then it's gonna sleep if it doesn't find anything. Then it's gonna find the top voted idea with no status. So it's assuming the order of the ideas that it finds, and then picking up. Okay, great. Let's see if it works. Node source server.js sleep 2 curl ideas. So it's using our API to fetch. That's nice. And okay. And then what else is it doing? It reads from standard in, so it's going to read this input. Then it's going to parse the JSON. It's going to log the ideas. It's going to find the first key, first idea. Let's run it. Address and use. So you already have the server running. Okay. Everything works, it says. Good. Let me update Claude MD. So now we need an Anthropic API key to run this agent. And then it has default for these things. 3 tools. Will not touch backend, the repository, server.js, and routes or ideas. Interesting. Okay. So we add all of our files and add the commit message. Let's go. So for this demo, I have I need an API key. Let's push it. We don't know if it works yet, but let's push it anyway. We can always push an update. So these two are already running. Now, let's get an API key. Settings. No, is it? Where is it? Maybe it's not. Where do I set up a key? Cloud code. No, I don't want to download. I want an API key. Can I do this? Okay. Cloud API. Yep. Oh, I need to add credits to start building. Let's see, because this is working. Does it have an API? No, it doesn't have an API key. It's just using my login. So does that mean I need more? Okay, I'm trying it out. I guess I'm paying again. You know what? I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna cheat and add a key that's maybe.
You want to stop sharing?
That's okay. I'll delete the key afterwards.
Okay.
No problem. Please don't abuse the key. Thank you. And then I will go back to my project. Let's say I want to run that command. Here I say Anthropic API key equals, and then here. And then I want to run this guy. Invalid API key. I'm sure that didn't work. Maybe I didn't copy it right. But like I said, it shouldn't matter because I'm going to kill the key anyway. So let me just export it right here. And then we go here and we do right. Well, it looks like we are implementing seller bookshop. Big feature. Let's see. I don't know what's going to happen. Bookshop.jsx. Okay. So, components. Oh, we have a bookshop now. What's happening? Clean code book, pragmatic programmer. Right, so it's faking some data and it's making a cart. Wow, this is it's doing a lot. But let's see if our website keeps working or if it breaks it in the meantime. I think yeah. Okay, well, at least we see building. And here's bookshop. Oh, bookshop. Hey, hello. We have books. Can we add? I want to. Well, I'm going to need this book. Let's see. I can check out order placed. All right, great. I think we have a bookshop implemented. It says it's done. Good. So, sometimes you spend 2 hours fighting to install something, and then the next time LLM implements it in 1 minute. But of course, this is not a real bookshop. This is just a few buttons that look like a bookshop. So, it does a good impression of what something that looks like a bookshop, but it's not a real one. And I think we probably spent a lot more time building a real bookshop than we've spent so far on this project. But at least I'm happy that the loop works. And actually, I think the agentic loop is kind of done, so we could say that one is done too. So I'm going to ask Claude to implement the agentic loop, and let's see if I run it again, it should find this agentic loop, and I imagine that it says like, oh, that's already done. Or maybe it will ask me like, what is an agentic loop? This is actually not very prescriptive. So if we ask Claude to implement agentic loop, that could mean a lot of things to it. I'm actually going to ask to add a feature to implement something specific. Wait, if I just, let's see. Building agentic loop. It's already doing it. Okay. So while I was thinking about it, this is actually already a loop. So it is now currently polling, and it's taking the next idea on the list. And now it is updating the website to, it's already done. We had implemented it and it's noticed, but it added a nice agent widget. So then I expect the next thing is going to be downvoting. Oh, I'm already downvoted. Hey, that already worked. Okay. So I accidentally downvoted two things. I didn't mean to downvote. I thought it was, it looked like something to make something appear. So I guess we built what we wanted to build. Let me see if there's any questions in the meantime. Can we get a quick summary after the session is over? For sure. And I'll also have a look at the tokens that I spent. Yes, that's a good idea, Kenneth. I will definitely do a recap of what happened. And yeah, it seems like, next thing we're building a lighter alternative of ngrok, I guess.
I think the ngrok will be very interesting to see.
Yes.
I don't know if you might run out of tokens.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very curious. What would actually have been nice, I'm just going to add this and see if I upvote it. Maybe someone else can upvote it too if it comes next on the list. Please add a GitHub link to implementations, and if you can, a token cost. All right, but it seems like this is going to be chugging away. And right now, we have no idea what it's doing in the background. Before all of this, we were keeping tabs on. We knew that, okay, we have this backend, and we anticipated the changes. But right now, if you let this run and you come back, you won't recognize what you see. And that means that you kind of then need to either spend a lot of time to understand what it has done, or use more Claude code to help cover that you don't understand, for it to make it even harder to understand. So once you go down this path, it's kind of a one-way door, because we've kind of lost the thread and the story of the evolution of the code base. And with that, like I kind of lose the trust that what is going on is something that that I'm happy to see. But of course, it is so fast for it to just go and build things. No, it's stopped working. What is happening? Oh, it's building ngrok. Great. Yeah. Bye tokens. So let's see. I think maybe I'll try and reflect. And what we try to do, I came with the objective to use Claude Code and use vibe coding to set up a project. And I had an idea of what I wanted to do from the start. I wanted to set up this website where you can put an idea, you can vote it, upvote it, downvote it, and then go from there. But before I actually got thanks, Vitali. It was his idea to build ngrok. But before we could actually get to the fun part, there was a lot of manual, like painful work to get started, to get things set up. And as I said while it was happening, this is something that's very common in software engineering, regardless of the size of team, regardless of the maturity of the product. You're always kind of operating right at the place where things are hard, because if they are no longer hard, you're usually done. And if the work you're doing isn't hard, then the work is probably not really worth doing. So that's why it's actually sometimes more the job to just be in a frustrating state of things not working, or some things working, or things that used to work stop working. And it's that mixed with moments of delivering something and finishing something that is that gives satisfaction. But if you don't if you can't stomach that frustrating part too, and you just let LLM do it for you, then you don't learn what to do. And I will say, I didn't actually go as deeply into some of these things as I should have, or would have wanted to, but I also wanted to get a result of some agentic loop, because I think that would be a nice reward for our toil. But really, if I had spent my time diving into what was wrong and fixing the Postgres deployment, that probably would have been more valuable as a thing to learn practically, in terms of like a feature. But I think sharing the process of being in pain and not being sure why something isn't working, and trying to figure out and using different sources, even if you're using LLM to try and figure it out, and sometimes it does figure it out quickly, and then other times you lose all of the time you won figuring something out quickly, because it sends you down a path that was wrong in the first place. And if you didn't know it was the wrong path, then that's just going to be your experience forever using LLM. if you don't learn. So has it implemented ngrok? It's done.
It
let,
is.
let
We need
us
to
see.
definitely see this. We definitely need to see this.
We need to see ngrok. What has it done? So I'm guessing that the agent isn't committing code. So that would have been a nice. Oh, not let's go here. That would have been a nice feature to add before it started churning through this. So where would it even be? So we can have a look. It has some outputs. Agentic loop. Let's build a lighter alternative of ngrok hassle-free version. So it read a few files and it wrote tunneldemo.jsx. So let's see. We've got components, tunneldemo.jsx. What has it done? So, okay, it has some random strings to generate names, fake request log entry generator, and then public URL, tunnel dev, uptime counter, request simulator. Okay, I mean let's see what it does. It's very fake, but at least it's done something. But where? How do I see my tunnel demo? So I guess I need to. Is it using tunnel demo anywhere? I'll just take this. So it's implemented it, but it's not using tunnel demo anywhere. Oh, I. But I mean, it's just all fake. You see, it's the connection is setting face connecting and then setting face live after some time. And I'm guessing, what does set face do? That's just a string. So, I mean, it's nice, but this is I think maybe when you see people vibe coding apps and they say, oh, it just one shot this app. Yeah, I mean, if you just create some HTML which and JavaScript which looks like an app, then you could be fooled if you don't know how it works underneath. But I appreciate that Claude tried to build it in the browser. So in the meantime, it's done a WhatsApp chatbot for campus course info as well. It's building high. Oh, someone is FFmpeg from scratch. We have another troll in the chat. Well, welcome everyone. Hey, hola. Okay, well, this website, it keeps building itself. So yeah, I reflected on what we've done. I wonder if you have any questions or reflections yourself, any of you.
Yeah, I won't call it a question, but I just wanted to make a tiny comment and also a question. I think there are many things I saw while you were working, and you kept on, you're reading, you're following, every line, you're kind of inspecting, and I think that little thing you're doing there really differentiates, because there are many people that keep asking, do I still need to learn programming from scratch? Do I need to learn any now? Because I could see you reading the lines, and I was just telling myself that if you don't know, you probably can't do that. So I wonder, can you speak on that? Because there are many people that will watch this video after, and it's the question for them: do I need to learn programming from scratch? Is it necessary? And I think the entire demo has answered it, but I just want you to speak on that again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you want to build software, then you have to know and you have to understand how to build software. So if you're using Claude or Vibe coding to do something that is for your enjoyment, for fun, for entertainment, for unblocking something, for demoing something, it's completely fine. You can do whatever you want to look at a result. But if you are building something and you don't understand what's going on, then there's no way you can build anything of value, because the value comes from knowing what not to build, knowing when to correct, knowing how to preempt issues and how to solve issues. And even I come here with my experience, and then I try to install Docker and it doesn't work. And even then, it's still hard. So it's also not like you're ever done learning. It is an eternal learning journey. So in that sense, if you want to build software, you have to know and understand. And to understand, you have to learn. So you cannot let LLM do the learning for you or take that away from you.
Thank you. That was lovely, Jesse. Another question I want to ask is, you know, with now like vibe coding, what is the future of software engineering? Or yeah, what is the future of software engineering? Are there new emerging fields? Because this is something that I think on day one, I think one of our speakers from Google talked about deployment engineering, and then I think there was another one, GME. I can't remember what that stands for. I think go to market engineer or something like that. Yeah. So, yeah. So what do you think? How do you see the future of software engineering? 5 years from now.
Oh,
Yeah. Let me start. Let me find.
I think so. One thing is that there are a few big parties right now that are going all in, and they are essentially, vibe coding with extra steps, but they're still doing that. And they are building this gigantic system in which it seems possible to them, at least, to do it. But these systems are, I guess, already unmaintainable without. So I feel at least there's going to be a split or a rift of code bases that are maintained by AI or unmaintainable without AI, and then code bases that are still human first. And I have no idea what the code bases that are AI first, what they're going to be capable of, and what kind of level of stability they're going to reach and reliability. But the early signs of companies that are doing a lot of cloud code, and I will use GitHub as an example. GitHub is a respected company and a respected website that, yes, they were hit hard by a wave of LLMs like increasing their volume, but also there's a lot of suspicion that the instability of recent, they have dropped to like they're offline every other day. That the instability is also caused by them using too much AI to push features. And you see it in other places too. And then that is the stability of apps for users. There's also the risk. You see a lot of new attacks, a lot in dependency chains, and that there are two sides to this that AI causes a problem, because on one hand, AI, they are using it to find vulnerabilities, which is I think is a good thing to make ultimately make the software more secure. But on the other hand, there's a lot of AI code that is just importing any dependency that it needs or that it wants. And then if one of the dependencies introduces a compromise, or like has a worm or some malicious payload, and then all AIs are just pulling that in. It's a way for that to spread. So I think there's already a few issues that are cropping up in AI code, um, and some of them, like the former, like the code base that are unmaintainable without AI. That is for the large corporations, and then the dependencies that are introducing risk and like taking companies down. Like if the wrong package lands somewhere, then the whole company can die because their data leaks or something happens. So I think right now the trend is that we're seeing more and more of such issues. So I don't know if we can if they'll be able to figure out how to fight that. So that is the AI first code side. On the human first code or code bases, that's been working for I don't know, for like since the 60s. We've been writing code as humans. So I think that will remain. And I don't think that the only way to write code is through AI. No, because we as humans we can already write code. How it's going to manifest to have these two different types of code bases, if one is going to win over the other, I don't know. But I place my trust in the humans more than the AI. But AI is a really, really powerful tool. So if we can maybe dial it back from letting it do everything to assisting us to do the things we can already do and do them better, I think that's a more sustainable approach. And that I can see a future in, although right now it's hard to distinguish that from the less responsible usage of AI.
Thank you.
There was
Okay, yeah.
one question in the chat that said, "Do you try to write the code yourself line by line?" And I, having seen Jesse work, I know that for sure he writes his code by himself. So uh, while here he has used AI everywhere for showing you guys, but I can attest that uh, Jesse is,
Yeah,
yeah,
I I
is very
actually
good.
I wanted to because I came in fresh. I actually don't use vibe coding myself that much. So this was for me to explore the same as it is for some of you. And I think some of you might actually have a lot more experience vibe coding. Like I said, because I trust in the humans and the things I build specifically, and it might not be, it might be because I care about coding this way. I usually build things for others to build on top of, or tools for others to use in code. And if those tools aren't reliable or stable, then everything else that's built on top of them is also unstable. So that's also the area that you work in makes a big difference. If you're working on the very leaf node of some work or the very end on the boundaries of your system, where if you break, then nothing else necessarily breaks. It's just it remains self-contained. That is at least it's better than if there's some core component that if it breaks, then everything else breaks.
Okay, I think we'll just take two more questions and then we call it in. So I think someone was asking, what if he uses Cloud Code to start a project, brainstorming UI architecture, and like how to organize it, and then using Cloud Code like to explain the concept. Then you're not trying to write the code like line by line. Is that a good way to use it?
Yeah. So, and this is something that the AI agents also offer. There's features that um, they're promoting where you have a separate planning phase from your implementation phase. I already think that is much better. I didn't really do much planning in this session because we were vibe coding. But if you already know what you want to build and you want to first explore how you want to build it, I think AI can be a great tool to understand what options you have. And it is, I like to ask LLM for trade-offs and to double check if I have a suggestion, if it makes sense. And there is one problematic thing I find, that if you suggest something to AI, it tends to agree with what you suggested. So if you want an honest criticism of what you're doing, sometimes you need to like prompt engineer your system prompt or something to get it to be honest about what you're doing. Um, like that is true in any situation where you want to give the LLM a level of authority, and you start to believe what it's saying. So yeah, if you're brainstorming the architecture, try to have it behave more like a partner, where you bounce ideas off of each other and you keep your own critical thinking front and center, and challenge its ideas, and then maybe also get it to converse with it in a way that it can challenge your ideas as well. I find that works. That can work well.
Okay. So the last question. Um, hmm. Okay, I want to ask. I'm going to break this into two. I've heard from senior developers say copy and paste is one of the skills of developers. So what's the matter if we use AI to build full stack applications? That's one. Uh, then the next question: what's what does it mean for someone to become a senior developer? This is a question that just I'm a senior developer. I think this is the last one, and I'm done with this. What does it mean for someone to be a full stack developer? So these are the three questions. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
First question I want Jesse to answer is it correct to say copy paste is one of the skill that a developer needs to know?
Well, I will answer it the same way as I started with, like, when is it okay to use AI or LLM? You can copy paste responsibly. So if you know what you're pasting, then then it can be fine. It can actually be a good thing. If you can find a strong source, and usually like Stack Overflow is a great source for this type of information, because there's a lot of context by a lot of experienced people. But well, it at least had a lot of signal to understand whether what you were copying made sense. And then if you copy paste, um, don't copy paste it without understanding it. That is the main thing. If you understand everything it does, then of course, then that would be the same as you typing it out. So that is the main thing. And then there's another one. Copy pasting in software, like copy pasting your own code, is another version of this, where there is this idea of dry, DRY, don't repeat yourself. It's a concept in code that if you have the same code in different places, you should probably combine that into a single function or something and use the same function in those places. That is a way where if you're copy pasting code, you end up with the same code in different places. But sometimes it's okay. If you have two versions of something and they're slightly different, then actually trying to make them one thing and then still express their differences means you're now coupling two pieces of code that maybe didn't really belong together. They only looked very similar at the time when you copy pasted them. So that becomes a bit of an art to understand when is it okay to copy paste and to leave the two in there, and if I copy paste something again, should I think about, wait, is this actually a concept that I need to express in a single place and then reuse? So two answers to that question. All right, and then there's two more. We have, what is a senior developer and what is a full stack engineer? Okay. So I don't think there is one type of senior engineer. But there are several behaviors that you will probably find in a senior engineer. There are different flavors. So you have one type of senior engineer that, well, you think might exist, which is an engineer that always knows exactly what to build and exactly how long it's going to take, and exactly how everything works. That one is not real. There's no engineer that knows everything. So the seniority expresses in how you deal with the situations when you don't know exactly how something works, or you don't know the answer to something, and that can express as knowing what is a problem that needs special attention and that needs more effort, and what is a problem that you can you can have a proof of concept in place or a temporary solution. So that is a big one, knowing when to go deep and when to stay shallow. That is also, there is one, knowing when there's an idea to maybe build something, the idea to identify whether it's required or not, or whether it's necessary or worth it or not. So knowing when to build and knowing when not to build. Often, if you think of someone as very efficient or effective as an engineer, it's because they know exactly where to spend their time and where not to waste it. And that can be for them as an individual, but if you're even more senior, you know how to do that for an entire team. You know how to avoid spending a week or 2 weeks building something that is not going to be useful or is not going to be used, or could have a much simpler solution that's going to give you everything you need out of it for the foreseeable future. So those are two examples of qualities you'll find in senior engineers. Then a third very important one, knowing how to communicate well. And that is not just in speaking, it's know how to communicate in the code, so that whenever someone arrives in the code, they understand what's going on, and not just what's going on, but also why decisions were made. Sometimes it's important to know why a line of code exists, because it might look out of place. And if you came there without knowing the context, you might think like, oh, maybe I can remove this, but you can't. And if you're a senior, you make sure that the code tells you, like if you spend time with the code, you understand what's going on and why it's going on. And that is in documentation, that is in clear abstractions, that is in comments, and that is a huge part. And if you write code with AI, sometimes it's a tricky one. AI loves to put comments everywhere. And sometimes if you put too many comments, it actually creates more noise than signal. This is a problem we discussed earlier, the signal that AI generates, the noise that AI generates over the signal that you're looking for. So three things I think make for senior engineers.
And for extending the question, like earlier question, if someone is, let's say, graduating now, or determined to learn and become a software engineer, how what should they do?
Okay.
Like, in terms of like both path as well as like with AI, do you recommend like going for a while without AI to learn basics, like thoughts like that?
Oh, I would recommend for someone starting out to code to write line by line. And even if you use AI, like I said before, at least understand line by line. But as soon as you hit tab or like ask agent for it to produce some code that works, but you don't understand something about it, that's a huge loss of an opportunity to learn something. Like if you don't understand what it's doing, that means the lesson is in there. And if you don't go and catch it, you miss it. And the only way to learn is to go through those experiences, and often go through a few bits of frustration until it works. And if you keep avoiding that frustration, then you're not going to learn. And it's going to show immediately on the job market, because if all you can do is ask Claude, anyone can ask Claude. Anyone can ask GPT to do the work for them. It's only the people that know how to correct GPT, how to do it themselves when GPT is not working, and how to help others understand that too. It's those people that are valuable. So if you want to be in the world of software, there's no substitute for learning how the software works and how to build it. If you don't want to be in software, then by all means you can do what you want, but don't expect to build software.
Yeah, I think you've answered all our questions, Jesse. We have really crossed time, but I think this has
Yeah.
been a wonderful session. Like, I have gained so much. I'm sure so many people are going to watch this video because, like, you can't understand the number of people who, I think, throughout this week they've just been bombarded with new concepts, and they just been like, how do I start? How do I start? How do I? And I think you've touched on way more than just software engineering. I think you've talked. For me, I've got like an idea of like the entire AI landscape because I think the core principles you've touched on, and I think the last one you just mentioned was top notch. So thank you once more, Jesse, for creating time to be with us. I love the fact that we did this live. This was so cool because like I was just watching your thought process. For me, that was the most exciting thing. Just watching how you going about it. And there's certain people that have never installed Cloud Code before, so I think you also helped them on the call.
Yeah.
Thank you. And you know, just last time you spoke to us, we had 1,370 people registered for the bootcamp. Now we had 22,000. Again, please, when we do call again, I hope you would come again, and I hope next time we would maybe have like 200,000 because from the numbers we did, like we're close to almost 20x. Actually, we actually almost hit 20x. So if we do 10x again, that's 200k. If we do 2x, that's 400k. So
Wow.
yes. So thank you, Jesse. Thank you to everyone who joined the call. Sai, as always, thank you. Sai, you have some fans in India. There's someone saying hi from India, so check them out.
I started stalking them. So
Yeah. So okay. Thank you guys for coming. So Jesse, love to have you
All right.
again next time, and take care. Sai, thank you. Just want to give a few announcements to the people on the call. We're going to be having our okay. Bye, Jesse. Yeah. Okay, cool. So for those of you who are on the call, we're going to watch the video later. Few announcements. Hi, Smear. It's been a while. um, we're going to be having tomorrow. So as you know, we have a build session. It's actually, it was initially meant to be an 8-week sprint where people are building, because all the concepts you've learned. Now the question is, how do I implement it? I think someone was asking, how do I implement CodeRag or GraphRag? The build is a perfect scenario. All the things you learn from Jesse, from Sai, if you want to even do design, who else was a big speaker for us again? But yeah, Venkatesh, this is the perfect opportunity. So we're going to go into details on that tomorrow. The session will happen by 5 p.m. West African time, 7 p.m. East African time. So this is for Kenya and Ethiopia. We decided to make this shift because I think the community mentioned that the schedule doesn't work. And I know many of you are going to watch the session afterwards. So please, tomorrow, 5 p.m., we're going to send out an email, 5 p.m. West African time, 7 p.m. East African time. We're going to talk about, the rules guiding the build. Just, yeah. And please join the Discord server. Please answer your question. I think, yeah, Tech Compact, I think Jesse, you probably could reach out to Jesse. I'll get his LinkedIn so you could text him personally. So you're going to have all the full information on the build. For anyone who's new in programming and wants to learn a skill, this build is the best opportunity for you because you're going to be under. Okay, Smith, please could you share the Discord? People are asking in the chat. Yeah, in
Okay.
the chat. Yeah, thank you. So you're going to have yes, there is a prize. So you're going to have an opportunity to learn. So what is the prize? So we have $2,000 in cash prizes for top 3 winners. But we'll go into detail of that tomorrow. So again, $2,000 in cash prizes for the build, but there are rules guiding it. And so we're going to share all that information tomorrow. Um, yes, there's going to be a quiz. I think once I can get Jesse's slides, give or take before 7 p.m. West African time, there'll be a quiz that covers on everything we've done from day one all the way to today. Heads up, it's going to be very challenging. You can use AI, but you're not going to gain anything. I would encourage you to do it yourself so you really it gives you a good understanding of where you stand at. What is your level of understanding? Um, Rita, I don't know if you're on this call, but for many of you who joined us from day one, I applaud you and I hope you've been able to see the value. There were so many gems that Jesse dropped today. You guys don't even understand. There were so many things he said. You know, one thing I've learned is it's not just writing code; it's also just the tiny things he says, his thought process. You know, the coolest thing for me was it was just again Claude is giving me examples and he's reading every line, he's reviewing, and I was asking myself how many of us are that diligent when we're using these coding agents, like whenever they want, how many of us like trying to okay, what are you doing, it tells it okay, it looks like you're doing the right thing, but he was even going line by, and he even said it that he wasn't as detailed, he wasn't as thorough as he would be. So it says a lot. And he also talked about entry level people. So those of you who are trying to get into software engineering, even he even emphasized on maybe the future, the way these systems, like 5 years into it, because these systems are not sustainable. He's talking about the cons of having code on GitHub is having issues. These are things we don't hear often. You're getting to hear from these professionals. So you guys, thank you, and I hope this has been worth your time. Those of you who are joining, who watch the sessions after, please, 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 I need you guys to be part of the build. Please, it's so important. Um, we're not very pleased with what we're seeing online. Like you guys aren't posting content, you're not posting that much on our socials. Not very encouraging. Because I keep saying this thing: how can we convince people that look, or how can we show that people actually, benefited from this session? So you guys need to post content. It's just again, I shout out to Ibukun. Ibukun, if you're on this call, I must applaud you. Like I see your videos, top notch. Like they're really descriptive, and Dave Nelson, I see you too. Um, and then the other internal guys in NSK, I won't call you names. You guys already know yourselves. Um, I don't know if there's anything I'm missing. So yeah, the build we'll have the build session tomorrow. Yes, and this is like something we didn't mention. We're getting some of our alumni, some people who participated in the boot camp last year. They're going to come and we're going to have like a what's the word? What's the word you use, Samaya? A panel session. Yeah, panel session is the word. Yeah, we're going to have a panel session where they're going to talk about their own experiences, like what was the hackathon or the build like for them, and how, like 1 year after, how I was like, so you guys get to understand what it means to go through the entire ecosystem and how this helps you, in to motivate you. And then we'll go into more detail about team formation and submissions and all whatnot. Sumi, I don't know if you have anything to say.
Yeah, and also we want everyone to engage in discussion on Discord, because you don't only get knowledge from the people delivering the speech, but also from communicating with one another, from your team members, from whoever is on that Discord group. So please engage with one another, ask questions, reply to your teammates on Discord, engage with one another. And there is also a lot of things that you are going to learn from one another. So I need you to realize on that as well. Keep on building, keep on sharing, because building in silence is not viable at this moment. Like in the era we are in, we need to talk about what we are doing. We need to sell ourselves, what we are building, the skills we are gaining. We should be working on public, developing on public, building on public. So make sure you do that as well. Yeah, that's all from my end, Fanny.
Yes, so I just want to go back to what you said. Rita, the class is by 5 p.m. West African time. You guys, no class by 12, 5 p.m. West African time. Sumaya just hit a nail, hit a very important point. The idea of posting online about each day is really for you to tell your story. One thing we underestimate, people are watching our growth. If I see day one you're talking about AI 101, day two you're talking about voice agents, day three you're talking about graph rag, day four you're talking about ML modeling. Day 5, you're talking about vibe coding. And then I now see you're posting week 1, a project you're working with your team, week 2. So I saw you when you started and I watched you grow. You know how we all watch people, like on our social media feed, we do see people posting when they're starting their journey. Like it registers, and it might seem like nobody's watching, but people are watching you, and there's this momentum. And then so you get to tell the story. Look at NSKI. We started with just 9. Started 2021. Now we have 22,000. Sumaya was a part of the bootcamp last year. She's on the call. Jesse was a speaker last year when we were 1,317. He's a speaker today with 22,000. So many of you ask, like, it's the story that sells you. That is the key thing you guys need. It's the story that sells you. It's the story that's going to let people, oh, I know that guy because he was building in public. So I trust his work ethic. 5 p.m. West African time, 7 p.m. East African time, scheduled for tomorrow. I will send you guys an email for those of you who are on our mailing list, and we'll put it on Discord. Let me not talk too much. Again, apologies that we're way off time, an hour after, but I think it was worth it. I think it was so worth it. Thank you guys. See you guys on Discord, and have a lovely day. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Um,
See
I'm
you
gonna
all
leave.
tomorrow.